Finance Hat, a YouTube channel that we found a few weeks ago. I've only been streaming for 1 week. A little over a week ago. It has come out with another channel, another video, and I see what people are going through. Let's see what's going on in this world.
Being unemployed is so tough because I'm at a point right now where I just am like, I can't wait for the days where I don't have to think about my situation anymore. Like those days where you can be like, oh, it's 5:30. I can go to happy hour and get a little sushi.
Happy on a little sushi. The ultimate goals for employment, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I get it. When you're unemployed, you're kind of in a situation where there's a lot of time not being very productive. Maybe you don't feel like you're doing a lot in life. Maybe you don't have that purpose. It could be hard.
Or like, oh, it's Saturday morning. I can go shopping. I can do all those fun things. I just can't wait till I get to that point where I don't have to think about.
This guy applied to over 300 companies and finally got a job offer after nearly a year.
Yeah, it's a lot tighter. It's a lot tighter, especially in tech. Tech's a lot tighter. We had a very heavy employees market a few years ago, and now we have an employers market where you don't really have the leverage that you did. Obviously, lots of investment towards AI-specific roles, but a lot of the other roles that were being overhired a few years ago, it's hard to get into. It's hard to shift to as well. So it's very difficult, especially for recent graduates. You know, when we're up to that 300 applications, I start asking questions about, okay, how dialed in were you towards the application you were actually applying for? Or I've reviewed quite a few resumes on the show, right? And a lot of people have so much insignificant fluff that has nothing to do with the job they're applying for. And at 300, all those mass applies, I feel like they weren't curated very well. But tech hiring is an absolute dumpster fire right now, for sure.
So finally, he says it's been a long and brutal road and lost the job in July last year, sent over 300 applications since. And let me tell you, the brutal road of the job market is going to get more and more brutal as the months go by. Right now, you got a bunch of people getting fired from tech. Federal layoffs has skyrocketed, and federal sector has also froze hiring by Trump. So you got...
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to rely on federal jobs for the job situation, right, of everyone in the country. That wouldn't be the best way to go about it, because that's just like a inflated number that isn't actually market dependent. What's the word I'm thinking of? Like, it's just the market's not necessarily demanding it. So that seems a bit of a fluff, but it definitely hurts, especially if you saw all these federal jobs and that's what you decided to go to school for. You were aiming for it. That was your whole plan. Then all of a sudden it stopped. It's like, shite. That's hard.
Millions of Americans right now wanting to get a job, and there's even millions more people trying to find a job that's better than the job that they have right now. And the fact that you got to send 300 applications and it takes you about a year to get anything.
The year I can see, certainly definitely a bit on the long end. I'm sure it was looking a little more towards specific job that the person wanted to do. The 300 applications, I feel like they weren't curated very well. As someone who's reviewed a lot of resumes, people are not good at the resume game. It's as simple as that. And I'm not saying that it would be easy for him to get a job if it's a good resume, but once, we start thinking about 300, I start to ask some questions, right? And I'd like to have seen the person's resume.
It's pretty insane to me. I remember before the pandemic, if you sent out 30 to 50 applications, you get several job offers and you get a job within 2 to 3 months at most. Now, on average, people are taking 6 to 12, even 18 months to find a single job.
Is that an indicator? We'll see. Maybe it's time to stock up 6 to 12 month emergency funds. Certainly as a business owner or a contractor, I would on that 12-month side. 6 for most people.
This guy says that wife cannot find a job anywhere at all. His wife has been a middle school teacher for 4 years, has a bachelor's in education and a master's in science education.
That's hard. Well, she's desperate to get out, meaning she has a job. Because I was going to say education, there's many markets, even just here in Austin. It's desperate for teachers. So wants to get out of the world of education. It gets a little hard, right? Think about it. You're the hiring manager. Your job is to keep highly talented people that are good at their jobs at the business and continue to excel at the business. Someone goes into retail fast food, is on that higher age range, has a master's degree in education. Are you hiring them or the person that the resume suggests they wouldn't leave that job in 6 months once they find a science education job? sometimes that's where that overqualification can be a bit damaging because it looks like you'll just leave pretty soon. That's what I'm reading on this one. I understand wanting to get out of education if we're not happy in education. Don't want you to stay somewhere you don't want to be, but that resume can kind of hurt you. So again, sometimes it's a curate thing. Sometimes you got to really hyper curate to what you're looking to do.
Very impressive. She is desperate to get out and is now looking for retail/fast food positions and still can get hired. This is why people are actually kind of happy now when they get a job at McDonald's, because even a job at McDonald's is actually very, very difficult. Use resume services, even look through a lot of stuff.
It's not that necessarily getting the job at McDonald's is difficult. Again, it is that your resume looks like you're going to leave when you get the teaching position you want. So it'd be easier to hire a fucking college student, you know? That's going to be there for a bit.
And honestly, though, I don't really think the goal and the solution is to get more degrees. College tuition is at an all-time high. Everything is so expensive. I have so many friends I know who are going back to school to get a master's degree because they simply, one, hate their job, or two, can't find another job.
I'd be a little cautious of that endless loop of college. What are we getting a master's degree in? That's a big part of the question. Again, if we're talking about that overqualified thing that kind of gets you at that hit out of the gate, you know, that out of the gate on the on your resume submission. A little nervous if it's like, oh shit, can't get a job. I'm just going to go get a master's degree. Yeah, I just want it to be very intentional, right? I want it to be very intentional. I don't think the app's going to come to the UK. There's lots of weird European regulations, and I know that's not in the European Union, but yeah, it's definitely a bit hard.
And it seems like getting a master's or a doctorate/PhD is...
No, not a doctorate and PhD. What are we doing? That's not... Okay. That's not what's getting you on the career trajectory unless it's something hyper-specific.
It's like the new bachelor's. Like, if you don't have that, you can't stand it.
That's not true. That is not true. A fucking doctorate degree is not equal to what a bachelor degree was 10 years ago. That's a bad take.
Chance in this job market. And it shouldn't really be the case. People are saying that hired in this job market is basically a miracle.
It is a lot harder, especially if you're in the world of tech. I mean, it's still a little bit it's hard because of the ghost job situation, right? But what we have in the United States right now, durable goods manufacturing, 3.5% of all open jobs. Construction, 2.9%. Manufacturing, 3.1%. Mining and lodging, 3% of open jobs. If we're trying to take away ghost jobs, because ghost jobs, you see a lot of that in tech and or service positions. It is a lot difficult to kind of pull that out. Yeah, construction, we're having 245,000 jobs, and we know something certainly happened to that market recently. Durable goods manufacturing, 289,000 open jobs. Mining and lodging, 19,000 jobs. Those seem to be some of the highest open job sectors right now. Very, very manual, very hands-on. You know, we're talking about people that are having a hard time getting jobs. We're often talking about the desk job. We're talking about the tech job, the tech market. And if that's where we are in terms of where the highest job openings are, ghost jobs, they're jobs that are being posted but not necessarily actively being hired. And there's a few reasons a few guessing reasons for it. One of the more sinister ideas is it's like making people at a company feel like they're replaceable because they see that they can just hire people or they're hiring for their job and that they shouldn't ask for a higher raise, something like that. That's one of the more nefarious ideas behind ghost jobs. It's a little hard. People have called for legislation around ghost jobs. You know, a lot of it is even, I'm sure we've even done this at my company, is like maybe we had a job posting and it sat for a long time because we just were never getting good applications, or even worse, maybe just forgot. I know that's not the case anymore with our new head of HR, but it is possible. So sinister, but probably some accidents as well.
As some of the biggest companies are doing layoffs. Check out some of these videos, guys.
Yeah, tech's hard right now with layoff. Let's get some stats around that. I mean, there are certain the wait night, definitely some laziness, of course, absolutely. The tech market is objectively harder than it's been for a while, and it's shifting more towards like hiring for AI, less towards just a general engineer, let's just say, because a lot of those positions were overhired a few years ago. So yes, I mean, there's people that are going like, I'm not going to accept a job unless it's the job I want. There is some laziness, but there is some reality in the tech market as well. So it's a little more nuanced than just that, right? It's a little more nuanced than that. But total job cuts year to date. Now, for what it's worth, job numbers, every single month this year so far, we have had positive job numbers. But I believe the first quarter this year had negative GDP growth, right? Which isn't screaming the best for future employment numbers. 700,000 job cuts have been announced in the first 6 months of 2025, which was an 80% increase from the same period of last year, though. And that's a bit scary. Retail was 274% surge year over year. Obviously, coming out of the pandemic, we had a lot of retail hires, a lot of demand for hiring in retail, right? 79,865 cuts there. Technology, 76,214 cuts, which was up 27% year over year. Nonprofit, 407% increase. I'm very curious on that. That's wild at 16,930. Media and news was 4,752. But we're hiring. We're fucking hiring. Yeah, tech layoffs. And that's one that we often talk about and we hear. Are we in a recession? Well, let's see if we have a Q2 quarterly decline. When do those numbers come out? Because we are in July. Okay. Yes. The economy experienced a quarterly GDP decline in Q1 of 0.5%. The release schedule for Q2 inflation data is coming out at the end of this month, July 30th. The advanced estimate, August 28th is the revisal. Okay. Third and final comes in September. But the number that honestly a lot of people are going to use is in July 30th. So we'll get that in a couple weeks.
So I just found out that I did not get the job that I was interviewing for. I made it around to the final interviews and everything.
That's hard. I get it. Please don't give up. We've all made it to the final rounds a lot. Can't give up. You got to keep pushing. See what you learned. Address that for the next job.
And they just decided to go with somebody else. It is what it is. And in full transparency, it was definitely a rush application. And it was going to be the easier route that I knew I was settling for. So like, there's something in me that's not even like mad I didn't get it. It's just kind of like, oh, damn. I could have had the security and the comfort that I like wanted so badly. But it's okay. There's other jobs to apply for. There's other things to have, working in my favor. And I'm just going to keep on moving forward. It's not going to break me. It ain't going to shake me. It just is what it is. It's just the nature of the world of work we're in. So I'm going to keep on moving, keep on doing my thing.
See, this is a good mindset. Just you're accepting it. You keep on grinding. You're not giving up. And I like that. I mean, she has a good head on her shoulders. And I think she's going to go through this more complicated job market a little better than most people.
That's it. Didn't get the job.
I am a senior at Cornell. I've applied to over 300 jobs. Who has a job right now?
For what it's worth, though, I do see a lot in the college graduate community, Gen Z kind of going for the dream job outside of school, not accepting anything outside of that, and I can't believe I'm going to go back in my day already, but we're definitely a little more accepting of entry-level jobs, knowing that you're going to have to grind and move up, right? Back in my day. That's a little less common today, unfortunately.
Full-time job. The only reason I'm not broke is because I've saved up working on campus and then also doing class action settlements on claim. Basically, brands pay you out. So I made like $8K doing that so far. Definitely recommend it's passive income. But if I didn't have that, I would literally be broke. I cannot get a job. I don't know, I might be cooked. What do I do?
There is no such thing.
You're going to have to likely settle. You're going to have to settle, my guy.
As a good job anymore. And I think that we need to collectively just understand that. The days of just applying or walking with an application or calling or knowing a friend and getting a job, those days are completely over.
Not completely. I would say knowing a friend is specifically what would help you the most. We take internal referrals very seriously when it comes to jobs because it's still, as you go through the hiring process, even if you find the absolute top dog, right? It's still impossible to know exactly what they're going to be like on the other side. But if you have an internal source that is able to advocate for you, I would much rather trust that person because it helps take a big risk. Because when you're hiring an employee, even if this employee is making $50,000, you're probably making like a few $100,000 investment on them, over the course of their time here. So how do you get an internal source? Well, it's not like it's not like going out there and finding an internal source. It's hopefully you made friends. Hopefully you were friendly and got great connections from past jobs. Hopefully you got close to people in college, high school even. Because a lot of times companies, when they prefer hiring with referrals, will have referral bonuses internally, right? Because it can be hard. When we're hiring thousands of applications, we're looking for one killer, and it's hard to sort that out. And that's why we're willing to pay for a referral bonus if someone gets hired based on an internal referral, because at least it leads you to knowing, okay, this person's going to be a likely better investment. So yeah, not burning bridges. Yeah, honestly, that's true. One of the best things you can do.
And what's even worse is that, like, you can't even go get a job at anything under like $25 an hour and live a life by yourself, live a life independently. And I wish our parents understood that. They genuinely think that we can just go out, get a job, and just make it happen. I don't understand what we got to do. What chart do we need to show them? What news segment, what graph, what table we need to do? What do we need to do to show?
I don't really know what this guy's talking about on that. But I mean, he was certainly wrong when it came to the connection. Yeah, you're not walking in, giving a handshake, making a phone call. It's not that. But an internal connection is probably one of the best advocates you can have for you.
Show them that it just doesn't work no more.
So reportedly another 9,000 people being let go from Microsoft. That's 15,000 in 60 days. What's going on?
Yeah, Microsoft's brutal, and they got a little cooked online, didn't they? Because they're putting out I'm blanking on HB1 visas. A lot of requests to hire international, but they're laying off lots of Americans. So they got a little cooked online because of that. Bad timing across the gate there. That was pretty rough.
It's a $3 trillion company making record profits every quarter, and really paying their top exec staff quite a bit of money. I
don't even care about like the top executive staff pay. It's not even that. It's just like companies are going to hire more and they're going to fire more, right? You know, we weren't fucking jerking Microsoft off when they were over hiring a few years ago. So, you know, equal balance at that point. But again, it was just the timing of trying to hire lots of international while also laying off lots of Americans. That was a very bad look.
Seems like you could use some of that money and keep some employees around. I understand getting rid of low performers, but layoffs are historically high performers, to be honest with you. People that have been around.
Well, high performers tend to be higher in, you know, a bigger nut. They're a bigger nuts, easier to trim from the tree, right? And that kind of sucks in a large organization because you don't have those touch points. You don't have those touch points with the decision makers that are choosing who to really lay off. Oftentimes, you know, at a small company like I'm at, it's like high performer would not be the person that's laid off because I see the value that they are providing. Even if they're making more money because they're providing more value. But at a major corporation like that, it's like not surprising that someone you don't even know is making the decision to just cut the heavy balance sheet employee. It's kind of gross.
For a decent amount of time that do a lot of work for the company. I know personally teams that I've worked with, that I was on, have really been struggling since the 6,000 person layoff, and it's just going to get worse with this layoff. So hopefully Microsoft, you know, figures it out and corrects course, but I think you're going to see a lot more of this going forward.
Well, this corrects course thing, I don't know. This guy's coming at it from like an advocacy point, right? It's like Microsoft isn't going to approach this as what's being said on social media, right? They're going for their obviously overall stock, maybe moving a different business direction with AI. So I think that this guy looking at this is not a bad thing, but the perspective he's bringing to it's a little odd because he's bringing it almost a little performative, you know. Dwayne, just go ahead and email support@dollarwise.com and they'll get you set up.
I've applied to 176 jobs in the month of June. I know this is child's play considering the job market.
Let me see your resume. Let me see how it was curated to those jobs, please. If you're watching this, I don't see who you are. Check it out. Contact me. I'll review your resume and stream.
But let's break them down. I found 50% of these jobs on LinkedIn, 25% on the website Working Nomads, and the other 25% on various different job boards. Of the 176 jobs I've applied to, 126 have ghosted me. 26 of them have rejected.
Ghosted. Well, I mean, it's hard. Listen, I'm on this guy's side relatively, but the ghosting thing, it's like there's thousands of applicants. You probably just get a generic response, right? If you're not qualified for whatever reason, because you don't live in the area, because you're asking too much, your resume is weird. I don't know. Like you're not dating. Just move on. You move on as much as they're moving on. Come on.
Me. They basically.
Also, are we still hiring gingers in 2025? I've hired a few. Would I do it again? Yes, but with a gun to my head.
They said, fuck off. However, I did receive 24 interviews. If you're curious what I'm looking at, it's my little job application tracker situation.
Okay, spend more time curating your resume to the jobs you're applying for instead of making trackers.
Very cute. You can find it at the link in my bio. So have I found a job yet? No. And the more that I say...
Yeah, Indeed is laying a lot of people off. They're here based in Austin. But my question is, why the fuck did Indeed have that many employees? It's fucking crazy.
Here and reflect on all of these jobs that I've applied to versus the amount of interviews I've received versus the amount that have ghosted me and rejected me. I'm starting to think that this is more of a numbers game than I anticipated as I'm entering the job market. Anyway, it's the beginning of a new month. I thought it would be fun to do a little recap of the jobs that I've been applying to. And also it's just like a reminder.
For what it's worth though, I see a green screen in the guy's background, right? If I'm doing a little bit of dig on this, I think people are a little nervous of hiring those who have a major social media presence these days, because you all of a sudden, if they're not a good performer and you have to let them go, they're going to come out and blow up online about, oh, this company's evil. I get a little nervous when I see people have a big social media presence, because everyone hates a job they get fired from. Who the fuck doesn't? But it's those with a big social media presence that are dangerous, because they'll just bitch about it online forever. So I'd be a little nervous if I saw someone that was exactly chat, fucking terminally online potentially. Gets a little nervous. If you're making it through that interview process, people are looking you up online, man.
That it's not you, it's the job market. I'm an experienced recruiter, an expert at resumes.
Okay, he's a recruiter. This is making more sense. If we are hiring less in general, I feel like one of the top jobs we're definitely hiring less for are recruiters whose job it is to hire. No offense to this guy, but that does make a bit more sense.
And job applications and understanding how to fit what an employer is looking for. And it's hard for me too. So it's not just you. Don't feel down about it. Everyone is struggling. This job market is just shit.
It's true.
For the people that don't believe that the job market is absolute crap right now, oh, just call them, just email them, I'm going to read you something. Due to this position being in high demand, we do not ask that you call any of this company site to follow.
Which, fair enough. If you're getting thousands of applications, if you're calling me, I'm probably actually going to block you and make sure you never get considered for a job again here.
Follow up on your application. Contacting us via phone prior to your interview may result in automatic rejection of your application.
Fair.
I'm going to leave you with that.
Okay, hold on. Come on. What was not fair about that? I've been on a lot of people's sides on this video so far, but what was not fair about that? That was totally fair. I don't have many years experience, but IT seems dead. Going back from my MS and CS and getting an MBA for soft skills, think okay idea. Don't want to fall for a learn to code again. Listen, I don't think necessarily IT is dead, but I think it was dramatically overhired. I think we're seeing a shift to AI, and tech companies with major stock market performance on the market are a little nervous to hire right now. So I think it is on pause, I'd say, for a few years. I don't think it is dead for the rest of our lives. Okay? But it's necessarily not a bad idea with what you are doing. But I would just assume tech being slow for a little bit.
You guys, I do my 3 things I'm grateful for before I go to bed every night, whatever. Let me tell you something. That shit's getting hard. How many times am I gonna be like, I'm grateful for my dog? You know what I mean?
Okay, always be grateful for your dog, bitch. Come on.
Shit fucking blows ass right now. Everything fucking sucks ass so hard. Anyone else?
I got laid off a few weeks ago from Microsoft, and to be honest, I don't
Well, there we go. Yeah, we know the Microsoft situation, so I do empathize with her. That is very sad.
necessarily feel stressed about finding a job. Doesn't mean I'm not putting all my energy into it. I'm getting a ton of rejections. I've applied to
Yeah, Sean's asking why they're all women. That's a good question. I mean, honestly, if I'm thinking about the rants I see online about former employers or making social media TikToks and stuff, it definitely does seem to shift that way. I don't really see as many dudes complaining about it. You know, the dudes probably just fucking go home, hop on games, get drunk, jack off, go to bed, wake up, and want to die the next day, right? Instead of venting on TikTok. Or the dudes are just on Reddit, because usually it's neckbeards on Reddit and then women on TikTok. So not super surprised.
Definitely over 100 jobs now in the last few weeks. You need to continuously bounce back. The only substantial thing I have right now is the Accenture path right now. I am so privileged to have been laid off from Microsoft because I basically go 3 months without working, but
Yeah, I mean, usually with these large tech companies, the severance packages are at least halfway generous. So that might be the one saving grace here.
get paid the same. I feel like I don't really have room to complain because I was able to work at Microsoft right out of college for 3 years. And I know like all of this stuff came from my hard work ethic, and like obviously you can tell my like job series, like a girl never took a day off. As long as you continue working hard and you put yourself out there, there's going to be opportunity for you. So you just got to keep going.
Has anyone
I agree. Good head on our shoulders.
realized that when you're unemployed or out of a job for a really long time, people who used to hit you up every other day for motives, they don't hit you up anymore? And this realization was very scary to me because I used to see people every other month or every other week, and then I would go for months and even a year without seeing them. And in my head, I kind of question why they don't want to see me anymore.
Well, dude's in the UK from the background. I mean, that economy is completely fucked anyway. So sorry, buddy. You're just not going to get a job.
Because I'm on.
How's your brokerage doing today? I haven't looked at the market. What's going on? What's going on today? Oh, it's a good little day. Oh, hey. Are we at all-time highs right now? Are we at all-time highs? We totally are, at least on the Qs. S&P. Yeah, wow. I think S&P as well. Yeah, good little day in the market. Wow. We love that.
Employed? Is it because I'm not working hard enough? Or
no, it's because you lived in a failed economic state called the UK. Sorry, guy.
Having a big corporate job or whatever that other people like, or how I perceive myself to other people. I really don't get it, to be honest. And then it hit me in my head. I think most people, they want to see someone who's employed a full-time role because they think they're not financially responsible or financially.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I personally, even if I was laid off, I'd just say that I'm employed at the company I was laid off from when I'm applying to other jobs. Honestly, I would just say that on the resume.
Actually there to hang out with them, which is totally wrong, because I remember when I had a job and when I didn't have a job, my financial spendings were literally the same. I was spending the same amount of money when I had a job, even when I was without a job. But
okay, well then you're a fucking moron. I'm sorry, but what the fuck?
Obviously, when you're unemployed, you do save a lot of money.
What the fuck is this guy talking about?
Because the expenses go down on traveling, food, and whatnot.
Yeah, but your income's zero, unless you're saying you're on government assistance, right? Is that what he's saying?
So you actually have more spare time to actually go out with your friends and spend the money, but they don't understand that sometimes, which is really, really upsetting. And I just feel like sometimes I just need to let them know that, yo, I actually have money. I can spend money because I've been spending money.
I don't think that's your main issue, guy. This guy's focusing on fucking something that does not matter as much as he thinks. Yeah, he's fun employed, exactly.
This is bills, other things, holidays. I mean, I still go out 3-4 times a year on holiday. I know that sounds crazy, but I still want to enjoy my life. Even though circumstances are a bit rough right now and they can improve, I'm in my 20s. I want to make sure I make my 20s worth it. So yeah, if you have friends that don't want to see you anymore because your job circumstances have changed, they don't want to.
Friends who don't want to see you anymore because your job circumstances. What? Is there a fucking... Is the UK through like a portal to an alternate dimension? What is this culture this guy lives in? This is fucking insane.
Hit you up anymore. I think it's better to part ways. I know it sounds very harsh, but they're probably thinking that if you're unemployed and you're still seeking for a job for several months or even a year, it's definitely not worth the hassle and also the energy to rekindle friendships when friendships should normally be bonding together, having fun, making memories. And if you're not making good memories, what's the point?
Okay.
I mean, sure, I can vibe with that, right? But there's a lot more to life than just the self-gratification in every single element. We do have responsibilities. We're just living organisms that were born on this planet. So we're trying to survive. That's pretty much it. We're in the system we are. Figure it out, dude.
Can we just talk about how hard it is to get a job right now?
Overqualified is crazy. No. It's not the actual overqualified. I'm using that because that's what's often said. I talked about this in stream. Maybe you weren't here, but it's like if you're applying for an entry-level job and you have a master's degree in something that isn't applicable to that job, it looks like when they spend a couple $100,000 investing in you, most likely is kind of what it looks like, the onboarding process, whatever it might be, and how long they hope that you're going to be there. If your master's degree in a different industry is on your resume, it looks like once you find that job, you're immediately just going to jump ship. So why invest in you? And this is why a lot of people have a hard time getting in services and the food service when they have some kind of degree, because a college student's more likely to stay there than someone that has a degree that is a completely different job field will in a few months. So it's not about actually being overqualified for a job. It's about choosing who to invest in and who's going to stick around for a while.
I got laid off around a month ago, but I've been applying, but I feel like I barely even get a response back of like a yes or no.
Yeah, and honestly, it's time to start getting over that. I'm sorry. Job applications get thousands of responses. I want you to get a job. I support you getting a job. I will advocate for you getting a job. Let's get over the fact that we don't hear back. Thousands of applicants, just like you get thousands of swipe on Tinder. Keep going. Keep moving on. Keep applying. Keep figuring it out. That's not the end of the world.
Or any of that. And I wish there was an easier way to do these like mass applications instead of just doing it through LinkedIn or Indeed, because I feel like there's hundreds and hundreds of applicants and like you'll probably won't hear back from the companies that you're applying for.
That is true. I mean, don't get me wrong. Indeed, LinkedIn is definitely more beneficial to the employers than it is to the employees, because you just get a much wider swath of people to choose from. And that's great from the employer's standpoint and makes it just more competitive from the employee's place. Caleb, I'm a recruiter from the US. A lot of people are still hiring. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of job openings. Tech is definitely softer than it was. As we discovered earlier in stream, it's certainly more in the construction industry and a lot of different areas that have major job openings right now. But that is a big shift for someone to make, and a shift that many people don't want to do. Should they be able to complain if they're not doing it? That is kind of a big question, right? And I don't have an answer necessarily. I see both sides.
But yeah, it's rough out here.
I really feel like I'm never gonna get a job again. Like, I'm so scared because like I have been unemployed for 3 months.
It's scary. It's scary. What jobs are you applying for? How many a day? How much are you curating your resume to it?
Eligible for unemployment because I just moved here.
Well, 2 years ago, I'd get literally 5 messages a day from recruiters. Today, I get barely any. Yeah, it's completely different. It's a completely different market. Remember, we go through these market cycles. Back then, a couple of years ago, we were having just an over-hiring boom. It was one of the best employees market we've had in the history of literally since like the Black Death, when people who owned land were trying to get people to work on it, but everyone died. It was one of the best employees market ever. We're back to a much more stable market. However, tech is definitely under, based on the fact that they dramatically overhired a few years ago, and we're doing a shift to AI.
I am so stressed out. Like, this has never happened to me before. Like,
You should try and find a job as a bit and see what it's like. Potentially. I mean, I'm on the hiring side for sure. It was just a couple years ago that I was leaving a company and found a job, and then luckily was able to quit that job in a couple months thanks to YouTube. But you know, it was just recent. But I'm definitely all up in the statistics and definitely on the hiring side for sure. So very locked in on the market.
Had a job. Like, I was an honor student, like 3rd in my class, so successful in high school and college. And I have a bachelor's degree in poli-sci. I have 2 years of experience.
Bachelor degree in poli-sci. Whoops.
Experience in mental health. I'm a great worker. I'm so organized.
Great experience in mental health. Whoops.
But nobody will even give me an interview. And I was crying on the phone with my mom because I was like, what if I literally can't find a job? Like, I've been applying for months.
Because you go into the company and you immediately start talking about mental health, which means that company feels like they're going to have to baby you, and you're probably going to cancel them. If you talk about that in your job interview, let's just be honest. We are talking about real world things here. Real humans having real conversations. This isn't a magical land where everyone's all super nice like we pretend to be online.
I literally can't find anything. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, am I just gonna live with my parents for the rest of my life? Because, like, I'm not kidding you. I literally cannot get an interview anywhere.
The first person this entire stream that I'm not surprised in that fact, though.
Anywhere. And I have applied to hundreds, if not thousands of jobs in the past few months. I literally don't know what to do. Like, I am genuinely...
Don't go into the interview with blah, blah, blah mental health. Go back in time and get a degree that's worth something.
I'm genuinely so scared. Like, I really am terrified. Like, I don't know what is happening in the world right now. But, like, I am a good candidate.
You're not marketing yourself as a good candidate. That is the issue. Thanks for the sub, Maddie.
I don't know what's happening.
I can't find any job, it feels like, that wants to pay me enough to live.
Okay, update. I'm still unemployed. Woo! I love that. I actually hate it. I've applied to over 50 jobs, which I'm not...
50 jobs over how long, though? Because I had a conversation, I don't know if their video's gone up yet, but I had someone who's like, I've applied to blah, 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 this many jobs. It was a decent amount that I was like, over the how long? Over a year, and it was like one job every couple days on average. And it's like, okay, well, okay.
Unique. I've seen so many videos recently of people in the exact same position as I am, and they've even applied to like a million more jobs than I have. So me having applied to 50 jobs and over 50 jobs and still not having a job, like, so not unique.
Over how long?
That's the situation. Still can't find a job. Even though I'm applying out the wazoo, I'm using all my resources, like calling on previous employers.
Guys, you didn't consider that she was actually applying out the wazoo, though. I don't think we considered that fact.
But whatever. I'm at a job fair today. I brought 3 copies of my resume. I'm not going to show you guys my resume or any of...
Job fair is interesting. I'm on lots of different aspects of the employee world in terms of worked quite a few jobs, gone through lots of interview processes. Now I'm on the other side of it for a couple of years. Job fair. I've never done a job fair. That could be a fun video. Maybe we go to a job fair.
But resume and transcripts from both undergrad and grad school. So wish me luck.
I just applied to 400 jobs in an hour. Oh yeah, and I also got 10.
If you applied for 400 jobs in an hour, you're not curating your resumes to those jobs. And that was a big, absolute loss. That was, okay, come on. We're not surprised here.
Interviews. Now you may be asking, how the did you do that? My best friend at Meta recently told me about this method, and I'm not gonna gatekeep and show you guys how I did it. All you gotta do is upload your resume on Remote Jobs Finder, then apply filters to the type of job you're looking for. Make sure to click auto apply only. I'll just apply to a couple of jobs that...
Remote job finders, there's not a lot of remote work out there. It's been dramatically going down.
Interest you? Yeah, I will take that information and apply to dozens of jobs that fit your profile and jobs that you seem interested in. It's as simple as that.
So, little life update, I got fired.
Fired or laid off, because it's very different. Suggesting you got fired means you were bad at your job.
That is where we're at. That is the update. The point of this video is to tell you what I'm doing now instead, which is so much more exciting.
That's true. That last TikTok was actually probably an ad for that job platform. Probably wasn't even an actual thing.